City of Stevens Point Bicycle and Pedestrian Street Safety Commission, recorded June 3, 2021.
Okay, I have 2 o'clock on the clock here. I will go ahead and call this meeting to order. I'll take roll call. Cole?
Yes.
Fehrenbach?
Here.
Frostman? O'Mara? Leek?
Here.
Finn?
Here.
Okay, we have established a quorum at 4 total with Commissioner Finn serving as the alternative. We'll go ahead and get this rolling. The first item on the agenda is election of a chairperson for Bicycle and Pedestrian Street Safety Commission. So I am temporary chair. I'll go ahead and open the floor up for nominations for a permanent chairman or person.
I nominate Mike O'Mara.
Mike O'Mara, is there a second to that nomination?
Sure.
Okay. There's a second. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? And final call, any other nominations? Go ahead and close that up. All those in favor of electing Mike O'Mara as chairman of the Bike Ped Street Safety Commission, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That passes. Since Mr. O'Mara is absent from this meeting, we'll go ahead and move into the next agenda item, which is the election of a vice chairperson for the Bicycle Pedestrian Street Safety Commission. Go ahead and open up the floor for nominations.
I nominate Bill.
All right, there's a motion to nominate Bill Fehrenbach.
I'll second that.
There's a second on the floor. Any other nominations for vice chairperson? Any other nominations for vice chairperson? And final call for nominations for vice chairperson. Seeing none, I'll close nominations. All those in favor of electing Bill Fehrenbach, vice chairperson of the Bikes and Pedestrian Street Safety Commission, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Vice Chairperson Fehrenbach, this is your meeting now.
Okay. So, just a point of order, we usually have the 3-minute, is that deliberately not on the agenda this time?
Administrative omission by accident.
Okay.
How's that?
So we may call for comments from the commission or the public up to 3 minutes on a non-agenda item.
Yep.
We're good. All right, that takes us to agenda item 4, report of the April 22nd meeting of the commission. Any comments?
Bill, were there any resolutions that came about for the Green Circle Trail on the riverfront from any other suggestions, or was that just brought up?
It was brought up for discussion, and the city spoke to their efforts to look into whether permanent maintenance, year-round maintenance could be conducted. And we haven't heard anything further on that.
Okay.
If there are nothing else, calling for a motion to accept the report.
I motion to accept the report.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none, let's call for a vote to accept the report. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Accept the report. Agenda item 5, scheduling and discussion of the walking rolling audit of Plan 2022 street reconstructions.
This was in August last year, right? Or
Correct, about mid-August.
Mid-August, okay.
Yeah, so what staff would be looking for with this request is, first, if any commissioners want a brief summary about what the walking and rolling audit is, we're glad to give it. Otherwise, we'd be looking to schedule the audit and then plus appoint one of you as essentially the volunteer to help coordinate the efforts on the back end in terms of supplies, in terms of obtaining the wheelchair, any other sort of equipment that would be worthwhile for the audit. So first off would be
Given that
scheduling.
we have a new member, could you explain the process briefly?
Yeah, so the purpose of the walking and rolling audit is, so including your agenda packet is our walking tool guide presented by AARP. And it includes a variety of different grading criteria that's shown on your screen. So crossing streets and intersections, sidewalks, driver behavior, safety, and then comfort and appeal. So what happens is prior to, for about maybe about hour and a half or so, we as the commission go out and grade based off of those 5 criteria, the planned 2022 reconstructions, and then once we adjourn and reconvene during a meeting, then we as a commission discuss, grade each planned street intersection planned street frontage based off of those criteria. And then those, the comments that are made are helpful for Director Badoon and his department to kind of coordinate efforts for the following year once those streets are reconstructed.
So we would be looking for someone to be the point person to lead up the audit, the tour, walking, rolling audit.
Yeah, and I will say, in terms of the equipment, I believe last year, former Chair Rourke, he obtained all the equipment from the YMCA. I don't know if I'm not positive on that. I believe that's the case though, but that would be one of the main responsibilities is the volunteer coordinating with staff and getting the necessary equipment.
And that equipment included a,
Yeah, I was
Oh,
just
sorry.
gonna say,
Yeah.
just to clarify, it was a wheelchair?
And a walker.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah, I was
Yes,
there.
that's
It was a
right,
wheelchair
that's
and a
right.
walker.
Yeah.
And I believe we got the wheelchair and the walker from the ADRC.
ADRC.
Yeah.
I can take it
Commissioner,
out.
would you be happy to do that?
Yeah, sure, I saw it done once, I think I can do it.
Yeah. It's just a little running around beforehand to get.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's no problem. And we wanna schedule it for around the same time?
Correct.
Of year, somewhere in August?
Correct, and that if that's what the commission would like I said, in past years, we schedule the walking and rolling audit about an hour and a half prior to the full commission reconvening afterwards. So expect, it'd be a little bit more time this go around for both audit and then the meeting to follow.
Yeah.
2 years ago, we did it, it was in the winter and it was early evening, but last year we did it in the summer, and I would assume because of staff that we would want to do it during the day working hours.
Yeah, I think 2 years ago we did it in October, and it was about 10 degrees outside.
It was October, I knew it was
It was
really.
really cold.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought it was during the winter.
No, I think it was October, early November, and then last year we did it in August, and I think we started at 3 o'clock and went until maybe 4:30 or 5. So, and then as Adam pointed out earlier, as you go along the walking audit route, you're looking for ways to better improve walkability, bikeability for everybody. So yeah, I spent probably 15 minutes in a wheelchair when we were doing that last time, and that was a lot more work than I thought. And
Still have blisters.
I still have blisters, yeah. So as Adam said, we're getting the route planned with the Department of Public Works. We do have a number of street reconstructions for summer of 2022. So, if the commission's comfortable, we'll schedule it in August, and we can kind of coordinate that through email like we do with this meeting typically anyway. So.
You give us the opportunity to pick a time that works.
Yeah. And so, I know we have these meetings at 2 o'clock. That's historically worked for this commission. If you would prefer to have the audit at 5 o'clock, city staff will show up and do what we have to do. So we're not too worried about meeting earlier.
But we are piggybacking them? I don't remember that from last summer.
Last summer we didn't do that. We did it the first year I was here. We did come back to this meeting room and have an actual meeting. But
So this would be in place or part of our August meeting,
correct.
at least potentially.
Yeah.
So we do it maybe around noon.
If you would want to. Otherwise, we could do it as a separate meeting if that's the wish of the commission. When we have no issues doing that either. So the only thing is we just have to publish it appropriately, give the public an opportunity to walk along with us. And we do invite a number of other folks to the rolling audit as well. So
Okay. Last year was, I don't remember quite the street. It wasn't Buchwald, but it was around, it was like a street over from Buchwald.
yeah, we met at
Franklin.
Franklin and
Yeah.
West.
So has there been any, I mean, where are we doing this year? Is there any thought to that, or?
There's the reconstructions are not on the north side this year. There's a number of them that are actually out in District 8. And
Perfect.
so there's opportunities to go out there. And so we'll get the full map put together as part of it and just kind of see where the majority of those reconstructions are occurring and do
Right.
those streets as opposed to, last year we had a block between Clark and Ellis of Rogers Street. Well, we didn't need to walk a block of street, right? So we try to concentrate where it made the most sense to do the route itself. And we'll do the same for this year.
Yeah, I think that is those areas, let's see, I need to be better at street names. It's Green Avenue and like kind of around Ridge and Janik Circle, Mary Ann Avenue, these places?
Yep, that's the general area where
Right.
some of the reconstructions are going to be occurring. Ridge is getting reconstructed next year. I think Janik is getting reconstructed as well. So, but just setting a date, we can definitely send an email out with some options for time.
It's interesting because there are no sidewalks out there right now,
Right.
so I'm not sure if that's part of the plan.
I'm pretty sure it's not,
Yeah.
But the Green Circle does is along Ridge, and so that's an important part of ensuring that there's full access to the circle and the trail itself. So I think this is more just as an FYI.
yeah,
Expect an email or two from Adam and start planning a Thursday or Friday in August for a rolling audit. So,
sounds great.
and Bill promised no rain. So,
No rain, no rain. No, I promised no rain for the count. Not
oh, there for the count. Yeah.
Thank you, Alder League, for taking the lead on that. So, scheduling and discussion of the 2021 bicycle and pedestrian counts.
Yes, so shown on your screen is actually the table from last year's bike ped count, showing the intersections that were counted and then the number of bicyclists, pedestrians, and quote-unquote other that were counted during the year. So staff would be looking, similar to the last request, nominating one of you as taking the lead. I believe Commissioner Finn, Commissioner Fehrenbach took the lead last year. I know I was pleasantly surprised with the amount of volunteers that stepped up last year. It was awesome to have that many intersections that were counted, hoping to do the same. And so we'd be looking for A, nominating a volunteer, and then B, if there are any intersections of interest that you do not see on your screen, we'd love to hear and we can help coordinate that with you.
Well, let's start with a volunteer.
Commissioner Fehrenbach said that I have to do it again. Oh, I will.
Thank you, Commissioner.
If somebody wants to help me out, what happened last summer is I did all the planning, which I actually kind of like to do because I'm that kind of person. I like to do it. I'm okay doing it solo. And then Commissioner Lane Brown helped with the the physical part of it, printing stuff up, bringing the supplies to the location where everybody meets ahead of time. So if somebody would want to help me out in that regard.
And what is the date? Do we have a date?
We'll get to that next.
Okay.
Yes. Last year I was not teaching during the count time, but the 4 years previously when I was directing the count, I had access to student volunteers, and I will be teaching in the fall, so I will have access to student volunteers as well.
Great, and I should have mentioned that Commissioner Fehrenbach has the connections set up with a few professors,
Oh, yes,
students.
yes, exactly.
Also have the email list, and it got updated I updated it last year also. just do a mass email to those who have done it before, and a lot of the citizens love to do that again, so they just jump right on it. So
I will
that's.
tell you, second year is way easier than the first year. just because
Yeah,
you
I have all my stuff. I saved all my stuff, so.
Maybe just for a point of clarification too, were there any, issues, challenges that you experienced last year, Commissioner Finn, that, and in terms of organizing it, at least that should be brought up to the forefront, that staff can assist?
I don't think so. It was a plow because I hadn't done it before.
Okay.
But Commissioner Fehrenbach mentored me in essence. And so then, I was able to get it done. Don't remember any big snafus that I or we couldn't handle.
From what I saw, it went very
It
well.
went pretty smoothly, yeah.
Oh.
Even contacting the professors, they were great.
Yeah. I would like to propose, I think we had 14,
Intersections.
at least
Yep.
we aimed for that. I would propose that we add a count site on Reserve Street between Ellis and that direction, it's Clark, correct? On the new contraflow bike lane. I ride both directions on that street now multiple times a day. And I would, for one, would be very curious to see how much activity it's getting. And that is, ideally, that's a new entrance to the university for bicyclists. And I'm just curious to see how many people are using it.
And that contraflow lane begins at Clark.
It's between Clark and Ellis.
Yeah, it starts at Clark and
I
goes to
suppose if you're
Maine.
going in the lane, it
Yeah,
starts
if you're
there.
using the contraflow like it's meant to be
Starts
used,
at-
yeah.
No, I'm sorry, it's between Clark and Maine.
Right. Starts at Clark, heads towards the university. Oh, it's just that block.
It's just one block, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, because then it's two-way after
It's
that.
two-way
in
after.
front
We have
of us.
another contraflow on Franklin between
Franklin.
Division and Prentice.
But yes,
Yeah.
but we have the count, we've had the count at
Right.
Franklin
That's right.
for years.
Bill, as, I know we're at Hoover and Patch Street. What about on the other side of the highway near E.M. Copps and Brulowski Road? There's a lot of bikes that come down Brulowski into the business park. And I think Patch and Hoover catches them going out the Heartland Trail, but
Right.
it's just amazing the number of bikes that I'm seeing out there right now.
I know originally we were trying to see how much use the underpass was getting.
Right,
I know things have changed there since the Hoover overpass has been built.
right,
There's no longer, there's a bike path that goes through there.
yeah.
So I would entertain more discussion about, as things move further east, how
Right,
much traffic
yeah.
it's getting out there.
I'm just curious with that being in the city limits.
So that would be at Brulowski and
Right at
where the trail comes.
well, it's right at the bottom of the overpass. You turn right to go to Skyward, to go west to Skyward. There's a lot of traffic there.
Oh, you still mean Hoover?
No,
And that's
Brulowski,
Brulowski.
yeah,
Lebowski. Right,
The other end?
right up from Hostelson.
yeah.
Oh,
It's sort of between Skyward and
Oh, okay, yeah.
cold storage.
My guess is there's very little pedestrian traffic there, but there would be a
Yeah.
significant
There's,
amount of bike
yeah.
traffic.
There's a bit of both, I mean, yeah.
And ultimately, the deciding factor is how many volunteers we have
Yes.
to cover.
I think one idea too that was interesting last year, since we have accumulated historical data over the years, is to see among the intersections along Stanley Street how much change in bike counts have occurred pre and post the 4-3 lane conversion. I know that's something that would be interesting to see, once we accumulate more and more data, say 5 years out. Did it result in more, same, less? Be interesting to know too.
And I apologize for, we had 1 year where we had scheduled this count to be at Minnesota and Stanley, and the volunteer just set up on Michigan and Stanley, and we had to move it the next year. So it's somewhat comparable data, but
Yeah.
be especially good to see how the Minnesota-Stanley
Absolutely.
intersection.
Yeah, there's a lot of traffic on Indiana and Stanley. I live on Frontenac between Jordan and Simonis. And
Okay.
that's where people cross to go to the Schmeekley Reserve.
Minnesota, a lot of them cross too, but probably
Yeah,
Indiana,
yeah,
because it's not as crazy
Yeah, there's
of an,
both places.
Indiana is not as crazy of an intersection, so that's
Yeah.
probably why some prefer to
It-
cross there.
yeah,
I
The
think it's,
Minnesota one is nuts.
it's a hard one to cross, though.
It is. And again, that's why we've been doing the count, and it does
Mhm.
give us some valuable information. Do you have the data?
What do you mean?
When the date might potentially be for the count this year?
Oh, no, it would just be going with, what date was it last? September 16th was last year, so no, we haven't. It was this discussion that was going to discern that, I think. Is that what you mean, the date
Yeah,
for it? So it was September 16th.
Every year we have looked to see what the national count date is.
Oh,
set.
that's what you mean.
Right.
Oh, I
Yeah.
forgot all about
But
that.
it's always that week. It just.
Okay.
I think last year it shifted back a week because it keeps moving up by a day and then it jumped back last year. So I believe if we just take the Wednesday, that's one day off of what we did last year, we're probably on a consistent date.
Okay. I don't know if this will show up.
But perhaps we can just look into that and have that as a confirmation
Okay.
for next meeting. Sure.
But it's traditionally been, like, it was the third Saturday in September, I think,
Wednesday.
or Wednesday. That had been the third, probably.
And we have had some Saturday counts in the past, and last year we just went with the Wednesday count.
Yeah, that's
Any
right.
discussion on whether anybody sees any need to add the Saturday counting? And the Wednesday count is the one that is more a count of those who are using, are walking and bicycling during the work week to get
Yeah,
around.
I think
Whereas
Wednesday,
Saturday is more recreational.
yeah, Wednesday with the commuters, and you'd have college students and.
Right. So I'm certainly okay with just continuing with the Wednesday count. Less chance of getting one of the dates rained out if it's just a Wednesday. I know it's a little nice on that one, though.
Plus, it's easier to plan for one day.
It is easier. Any other discussion on the bike counts?
So are you thinking the 15th for 2021?
Who sponsors that national one? I'm finding different things here. Is it the,
It's the National.
here, National Bicycle and Pedestrian Program Documentation Project?
Yes, the documentation project.
Okay.
Last year, it did not appear that they had updated their website at all.
Yeah,
So I don't know that their funding kept up.
yeah, I'm on it.
So
It's not saying anything
September
about it.
15th is the Wednesday?
Correct.
That would be the tentative date then?
Yeah.
Awesome. So Commissioner Finn will be in touch as far as, from a staff level, as far as volunteering, getting the ground, getting the ball rolling in terms of equipment, the volunteer list from past years. So,
One thing that Commissioner Fehrenbach mentored me in last year is you really can't start it a lot before because your WSP has to be in
Right.
session. So it was right after that I contacted the professors. So,
Yeah, it happens fast,
yeah, but that,
but it worked.
it was fine,
Yeah.
yeah. 2 weeks ahead of time was fine.
Okay.
You can add me as a volunteer this year too.
Yes.
Last year I was busy, but
You'll be a counter this year?
I'll be a counter this year. As long as it's gonna be nice and there's no rain.
Promise. It's a beautiful
Otherwise you
fall
won't show
afternoon. Every year, beautiful fall afternoon.
Put an asterisk.
Commissioner
next to
Knesset
my
is
name.
no show.
All right, moving on. Discussion on potential bicycle and pedestrian education initiatives.
Yeah, so this was a topic discussed earlier this year during our strategic goals sessions. And what staff is looking at for this agenda, or for today, is to discuss a little bit further about what specific educational initiatives are of interest of all of you, so staff can do some research and start some planning for some potential activities to occur later this summer, early this fall. I know some discussions some topics offhand were understanding the differences of pavement markings, organizing some small group rides, potentially giving more of a tour of the city. So we'd be happy to hear any educational initiatives that are of interest for you all.
Well, I know one of the things we discussed was a way to educate the citizenry about the pavement markings and various features that have come in, the infrastructure. But to do that just to tell people about it isn't the best way to do it. So if we could organize some kind of event where you have a led bicycle or pedestrian tour of some area of the city of interest, I think you might be able to attract some people to come along, and then you can just model proper use of bike lanes and sharrows and contraflow lanes. I mean, during the bike count, I have a route mapped out where I hit all the count sites, and they do hit both of the contraflow lanes, which is a nice route to do if you're unfamiliar with how to use a contraflow lane. So I would certainly be interested in some sort of organized event that would show people how to use some of the infrastructure we've laid out. Any other thoughts?
I know that it had been discussed in the past about maybe the city making videos, and then the discussion has always ensued of where do you post it, how many people will actually see it, the realities of how much of the public are you going to reach. Maybe doing both might help. I mean, no matter what, it's a matter of how do you reach everybody. But that type of thing, an actual event, we could, probably the local newspapers would have something in there about it, as well as media.
I believe last fall, shortly after the TAP grant markings were installed, we did do a series of educational videos with the mayor. I think Alder Zarazua was included on a few, and we did post those to city's Facebook, city's website, I think our Twitter. Sarah, right? No idea? All the social media. So those were kind of just done last minute because we had received a number of citizen concerns that there were all these new markings that the public's never seen, and so we quickly put those together.
Do you have any information on the number of views of any of those?
I don't. I'm sure we can get it from community media, but maybe doing something that's a little less frantic. That would probably be something we'd want to consider.
I did see some of those, and I thought they were, for what you consider a hasty project, they were pretty well done.
Yeah. I know we could not get the mayor on a bike to do the contraflow, so we calling you up, Bill. But, maybe updating those videos. I like the idea of doing a BPSSC group ride almost, where you do go through the various infrastructures. I think that makes a lot of sense. And then we had talked about previously doing more like a PDF pamphlet that you could put like on the city's website or share elsewhere as well. So,
and perhaps we could pair that with your experience with the Green Circle. I mean,
sure,
it's pretty easy to put a route through town that is streets one way and Green Circle.
Mm-hmm. And also another idea with the 4 bicycle shops we have in town, if we could get the PDF out there, so anytime someone's in those businesses or they buy a bike, they get that, and if you can get the stores to explain some of that too, because we have people that have never even been on the green circle, let alone on the road with the markings.
So to actually get handed
Ha-
a physical
yeah,
brochure
when-
would be
when-
great.
Yeah, whether they're just walking in to buy something small, or, you're getting them on a bicycle.
And if we do videos, I think it would be nice if it were a biker actually, doing the video, being involved, doing the speaking, whether actually out on the road with a biker or that biker is talking with maybe some graphics or something. That would,
Yeah. Commuting from point A to B and talking while the commute's happening. Make it as realistic as you can.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
No, this is a good list, though. Like I said, staff will do some preliminary research,
Okay.
see what all these will entail, so we'll be in
Excellent.
touch.
And how about the quarterly update of the strategic goals?
Yeah, so I figured it's been a few, I think maybe 4 or 5 months now since we adopted our strategic goals. So I figured now is a good time to give a brief update as to where things stand on the 14 goals, I believe. So as you can see, there's some of the goals that were planned to be implemented in 2021. Most of them are already in progress. We have one soon to be completed, and that's the submission of the walkable friendly community application.
Okay.
Hopefully will be tomorrow, or if not early next week, I'll be submitting that. Otherwise, a lot of the other ones that are either ongoing or 2022, 2023 timeframes, those are not started. We've had some preliminary discussions, so at least some good building blocks earlier this year, but I'd be happy to take any comments, questions that the commission has regarding the strategic goals.
I will just say that I was part of the group that was helping Wild Ones plant the native grasses between the riverfront pathway and the river. And there was quite a bit of discussion about the winter use of the trail. And honestly, a lot of people did not realize it was not winter maintained. But I think that was valuable discussion that we had last meeting, and I look forward to hearing where that ends up. And the new grasses that'll be nice. It'll be a very nice addition to that.
As long as people keep their blankets off it for fireworks.
Well, yes, as long as they do that. It really would be hard to put a blanket over
People are skinny.
We are lighting fireworks from a barge this year at
Yeah.
the river, so people should have both sides of the
That's
river
great.
so they should avoid where the plantings were
I
done.
hope they do.
That's the theory.
Yeah, I have a feeling the Wild Ones people might be there to help patrol that as well. 'Cause that was a lot of work. That the grass rooting was so matted that it was not easy to plant.
Yeah.
The simplest thing there.
It looks really nice. I seem to remember reading, I'm not sure if I'm jumping ahead because I'm looking here and you can hear somewhere you brought up about the bicycle friendly business. Was it going to be, was it a specific thing talked about today, or is this a good time for me to say something about that?
Not a specific,
Later?
that is goal number 4, so this would be.
So this would be-
This would be the
perfect.
time.
Okay.
Yeah, now's the time.
Yep.
I think I've been reviewing too many things. That, I think, would be a nice designation for businesses. I know I have a question. Can our bike shops be bicycle-friendly businesses? I had mentioned before that I wouldn't mind being a liaison, contacting. We haven't really thought of any, or is that like not
I
fair?
thought we are bike friendly.
Right.
So
Right,
I was,
right,
I was
that's what
reading
I
through
mean.
the packet and emails I got, and that was one of the places I stopped to think
Mm-hmm.
about that. Because we promote a lot in the
Mm-hmm.
area.
But would those be great places to start out with
I-
calling them bicycle friendly, or is that redundant? I'm not sure.
Well, The bicycle-friendly aspect has two parts to it. It has for customers as well as employees.
Yes.
And I do wonder, you guys are the furthest out from the central business area, and I just wonder how many of your employees bike to work because of the distance, or?
Well, I'm 4.5 miles if I cut through Iverson to Patch Street and the Heartland Trail. And usually we have 3 or 4 employees. I mean, I'm 4 days a week usually out of 6, depending on what my teenage kids are doing.
Yep, yeah.
But, you know, it's,
Because bike shops could be models for
Yes.
other businesses about how to accommodate
Well-
employees who want to bike to work.
Yeah, and then the 5 E's that they mentioned, as far as the engineering, physical amenities, just that you need to have bike parking, possibly changing facilities or showers, those kinds of things for people who work with you probably. And encouraging a bicycle culture, that's a given for a bike shop. Education, offering bike rides. I think hostels, you still do that.
yeah,
You have, I know. That's-
I'm doing, you know, well, not from the hostel shop, but with the youth mountain bike program with 40 kids at Standing Rocks every Tuesday night.
Nice.
But like at the hostel shop, we have a shower room for the staff. We have, you know, bike storage facility. That was built into the building when it was built.
And then, of course,
It
PABS
might
has the
be our
bike rides
first-
too.
it might be our first.
Yeah,
business then.
and PABS does a bike ride. You know, getting those
Yeah.
bike shops that do it. I don't know how strict bicycle-friendly business is with their. I know they have levels. Evaluation planning. It's budget, dedicated staff. You know, yeah, bike shops would fit in that. Equity and inclusion. I'm sure that could be addressed. So I don't know if it would be a good starting point to do the bike shops, and then we
For-
need
for
to
the
think
record,
of
could you-
other
Could you
places.
cite that document you're
This
looking
is the bicycle friendly. This is the bicycle friendly. I printed this off of their website. The organization that provides the designation.
at?
So this
Bicycle-friendly
is.
business
Yeah.
award level criteria.
Well, yeah, that particular page. The League of American Bicyclists, their bicycle-friendly business, yeah, sorry. Their bicycle-friendly business, the award that they give. So I printed it off of there, the things they look for. But then we'd have to think of, do any of our big, does Century do it? Does Skyward, could they be approached? It probably would have to be the bigger businesses, so just to start the thinking on that.
I think, I still call it AIG. Is it still AIG out there?
Yes.
Yes. There's a lot of places, I mean, that I think Skyward has facilities there if people walk or bike to work. And
I think it would be our big companies we can start with as well as
yeah,
the
because I thought
big
AIG did, because I had done lunchtime, like tables out there to, try to get more employees to bike to work in the past. I know a lot of them try to encourage that.
So if we're going to try to
place to
encourage
start.
5 businesses, it would be good if we could get a bike shop,
Mhm.
1 or 2 are big businesses in town, and then
Yeah.
maybe 1 or 2 of the smaller downtown area shops that would cater more toward the customer, what they can do for
I
customers.
think they have to meet all, or at some range, meet all the 5 E's at some, in some level.
Would it be at all feasible to get one of the places like on Highway 10? That would be, because that place is not bikeable at all, hardly.
In the future, it will be.
Yeah.
In the future, it will be. So maybe we should think about, I don't know, what's how they're targeted. I don't know. Seems implausible though.
That would be it would be a great challenge.
Yeah, that would be a
Make that part of
challenge.
the city bicycle and pedestrian friendly.
Yeah. Maybe that'll be wave 2 in conjunction with the Green Circle thing, extension.
Yeah, that's definitely, the Plover River crossing is going to be the critical component
Yeah.
to doing anything out on Highway 10.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
And this designation probably would include some, but the businesses could put a decal in the window, or, you know,
right.
of course we would
Definitely for the
say something about it.
businesses on the north side once the Plover River crossing is done. I mean, you can go all the way to the soccer fields once that crossing is done, which would be really nice for families and anybody that wants to
And
get.
business along Division Street
It
wants
might
that,
be good to get a North Division Street business
Yeah.
on board.
especially once that gets.
I bet we could get, I bet I know somebody would contact District One.
They've already reached out to our cycling club. We've done a ride from there this
Okay.
spring already. Very bike friendly.
There is an event
Yeah.
next week, is it?
Yep, the pedal on.
Pedal on.
Yep.
I'll be piling in a trishaw.
Good.
You wanna ride?
I'm gonna be with you there.
Probably.
Okay. Any other discussion on? Good job on the update there, I appreciate that.
Absolutely, no problem.
Anything else? Otherwise, we are at item number 9, which is adjourned. Adjourned at 2:42. Excellent.
Thank you.
Videos of these meetings are available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.